S'il vous plaît, mesdames et messieurs. Et juste après cette remise de plaque, nous allons permettre aux autorités de procéder au dévoilement en même temps de la plaque pour que
His Excellency, Minister for Communication, Culture, Art and Tourism, Mr. Gilbert Rodrigo, His Excellency, Mr. Mayor, distinguished traditional leader present here today, the Sankara Memorial Committee, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of our mother, Her Excellency, Nana Kaneju J.J Rawlings, and my siblings, I wish to express our heartfelt gratitude to the President, the Prime Minister, the government, and people of Burkina Faso for the honor bestowed on our late father, Flight Lieutenant J.J Rawlings. We gather at this moment not only to commemorate the legacy of our father, but more to honor the spirit of a shared vision between two leaders, Thomas Sankara and J.J Rawlings. This day marks a significant milestone as we remember the values they both stood for, values deeply rooted in the fight for justice, equality, and the conscious awakening of African people. The naming of this avenue at District 10, Sector 44, after Flight Lieutenant J.J Rawlings, is a real honor, not only to us, the family, but to the people of Ghana as a whole. This is a huge recognition of the legacy of a man who dedicated his life to social justice, a man who gave his life in service to the ordinary people. For J.J Rawlings, the pursuit of a just society, the pursuit of the socio-economic liberation of the ordinary African from poverty, from food insecurity, from underdevelopment, and from global marginalization was not a political ambition. It was a calling. It was a duty. In the same vein, Thomas Sankara dedicated his life to the ideal of a self-sufficient Africa, free from the shackles of neo-colonialism. They both envisioned an Africa where these principles would flourish, a vision still necessary today. Their unwavering belief that Africa must unite in solidarity against oppression, inequality, and neo-colonialism reigns true now more than ever. In his address at the launch of the Thomas Sankara Memorial Project here in Ouagadougou in October 2016, J.J Rawlings said, and I quote, "The journey of emancipation must continue. There is no easy road ahead. The power of imperialist control is almost like a noose around Africa's neck. The stark inequalities of globalization, the force feeding of economic partnership agreements with the attendant imbalance in trade mean we must fight a new political battle against neo-colonialist tendencies." Mr. Minister, Mr. Mayor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, J.J Rawlings, our father and brother to Captain Thomas Sankara, remained devoted to keeping the memory of Sankara alive to his last day. He was the honorary chair of the Sankara Memorial Committee until his sad passing in 2020. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, naming an avenue here in Ouagadougou after J.J Rawlings is Burkina Faso's recognition of his impact, not only in this beloved country, but across the continent. On behalf of our family, on behalf of the J.J Rawlings Foundation, on behalf of Ghanaians here with us and also at home, I wish once again to express our deepest appreciation to His Excellency the President of Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, to His Excellency the Prime Minister, Mr. John Emmanuel Ouedraogo, to Mr. Minister of Culture, to the Sankara Memorial Committee, and to the people of Burkina Faso. May today serve as a beacon of hope for all of us who take inspiration from the shared values of Thomas Sankara and J.J Rawlings. Merci beaucoup.
In a few words, he saluted and welcomed all the attendees and the distinguished guests to this symbolic naming ceremony. He underlined that the ceremony brings us all together in honor of the late President J.J Rawlings, a great fighter for the emancipation of our continent, a spokesman for Pan-Africanism, a worthy son of Africa, a great friend of Burkina Faso. In addition, he recalled that it was at the request of the country's highest authority that Ouagadougou, a hospitable city where people mix, is honored and proud to dedicate one of its avenues to President J.J Rawlings, who was the very embodiment of the solid friendship that prevails between Burkina Faso and Ghana. The Burkinabe people as a whole nation in its history does recognize the multiform and selfless support that the President J.J Rawlings once gave to President Captain Thomas Isidore Noel Sankara, father of the Burkina Faso Revolution, through the willingness he showed in his time to help establish the truth during the investigation into the assassination of President Sankara. For the country, where the integration and unity of people is already a reality in daily life, the naming of an avenue in memory of President Flight Lieutenant J.J Rawlings is an invitation to consolidate all that unites our two peoples and to ensure that present and future generations pursue our common goal of building a united and prosperous Africa. He concluded his address by expressing the government's acknowledgements to the large delegation from Ghana who have come to take part into the celebration of this very important event, wishing also a long life to the age-old friendship between Ghana and Burkina, and a long life to the unity between peoples of Africa. I thank you all for your kind attention.